Today we're diving into a big question. Should you go the DIY route and sell your home as a for sale by owner or partner with a seasoned real estate agent? If you're unsure about what's involved going for sale by owner or whether it's the right choice for you, this video was made with you in mind. We'll walk through the steps involved and some of the questions to consider to help you decide if selling your home for sale by owner is the right path for you. It can be pretty enticing at first glance to just decide to sell it on your own. After all, you're going to save a lot of money if you don't hire a real estate agent, right? I don't blame you one bit. If I were in your shoes, I would be thinking the same way. As a matter of fact, I was in your shoes at one time deciding how to sell a house. For me, it was all about the Benjamins, baby. I was motivated by the idea of making more money if I just did everything on my own. I sold 2 houses for sale by owner years before I became a real estate agent. I will say this, I did end up selling both of those properties to people that I knew, which is a pretty common way that someone will end up selling a house on their own. Only 14% of all people that try to sell for sale by owner succeed, and half of that 14% are sold to someone that the seller already knows. So about half of the time for sale by owner properties are sold to someone that you already know. One of mine was a rental and I sold it to a longtime tenant and family member. One was the house I lived in and I sold it to a friend. One of the houses I sold, I actually left money on the table and sold it for $10,000 less than it was worth and appraised for because I didn't know any better at the time. I wasn't doing anyone any favors, I just made a mistake. If I'd had professional advice and used a real estate agent, I would have actually walked away with more money even after having paid that brokerage fee. But you can't know what you don't know, so we live and we learn. That's one reason why I'm here talking to you. Hopefully I can prevent that fate for you or anyone else. Do you know how to prepare your home for sale and feel confident that you know what buyers are looking for in today's market? Do you know which things should definitely get fixed up or updated and which things you can kind of skip that aren't really going to add value or increase desirability? Do you know the steps you should take and how to make your house as visually appealing as possible during showing appointments? Do you have the skills and the eye of an appraiser so that you will have comps to back up the price when a buyer or an appraiser asks you for them? Do you feel confident conducting the research and evaluations to determine the fair market value and ultimately come up with an asking price for your house? Depending on the house and the area, plan on spending an hour, maybe 2, maybe more, doing your research. It'll depend some on how proficient you are with technology, navigating websites, and keeping track of your research results. When it comes to the asking price, underpricing it just sucks, and overpricing it is usually the kiss of death. There's nothing worse than cleaning like a crazy person for weeks and putting your house up for sale only to be met with crickets when it comes to calls and showings. Listing your house too high will result in a lack of showings. The house will sit, and the longer it does, the more people will devalue it in their mind. It becomes sort of stigmatized. People start to wonder what is wrong with the home the longer it has been for sale. As a real estate agent, one question I get asked at probably 99% of all the showings where the person is thinking about making an offer is, how long has the house been listed for sale? And the reason they're asking this is because they are making their own value determination based on the time it has been for sale. If it's only been a few days, they're going to feel a sense of value and urgency. The longer it's been for sale, the more they start thinking about how they could use that to their advantage and offer less than the asking price. They wonder, is it overpriced? Was it under contract and it fell through because there's something majorly wrong with the house? Ooh, maybe the seller will be desperate or eager to sell now that they've been trying to sell it for a while. When you do come up with the price, you'll need to do it without any personal attachment and emotions involved and ask yourself if your house will appraise at that price. So you have to look at it the same way that an appraiser is going to determine value and compare it to homes that have sold that that are as comparable as possible in all aspects and make adjustments for dissimilar aspects of the properties. A critical tip here, please don't just look at your Zillow estimate, your Zestimate, and use that to determine what you're going to ask for the house. Remember, that is just a computer-generated ballpark estimate, and it cannot be taken as a fact. It gathers data from the area and then it averages it. That isn't how value is determined in the real world. It's missing the human factor, and it cannot take into account desirability, usability, popular opinion of the area and the community, and the actual condition of the home. Do you have the time to, and are you comfortable with, repeatedly letting strangers into your home with you? When you list your house with an agent, you won't likely be present at showings. It's best that an agent and their client have the property to themselves. But when you're on your own, you're the one doing the showing. You don't want to hover during showings because if the buyer can't speak freely about what they think about the home, they're not going to be able to imagine themselves living there. But if you're not present, you could potentially be robbed. It takes skill to be present while still allowing your potential buyers enough privacy to discuss amongst themselves. It's not just about being robbed, though. You want yourself and your family safe more than any material objects, and you're letting people you don't know inside your home with you. Real estate agents use safety protocols and procedures that start prior to ever meeting a client at a house. And I recommend that if you do decide of taking on the job of selling on your own, that you implement some safety measures as well. Next up, some legal stuff. It's not the most exciting part of the process, but it is crucial. Do you know which disclosure documents you could be exempt from and which you are legally required to fill out and provide to the buyer? Do you know how to fill out all of those forms? And are you going to feel confident that you've done it right? One of the most common lawsuits in the real estate industry is from buyers who bought a house and then alleged that the sellers failed to tell them some facts about the property prior to buying it. Not much will ruin your day faster than getting sued. I watched a video recently where someone was giving advice for sale by owners, and I thought most of it was really pretty good until they brought that same point up as something that real estate agents just say as a scare tactic. Nope. I thought that was sort of a jab at the integrity of real estate agents, and also pretty irresponsible to say. 71% of all real estate litigation comes from one party not being represented. So for sale by owner sellers do get sued more than any other group. And as someone who may be considering taking on that job, wouldn't you rather be aware of that fact so that you can sort of mitigate your damages and be as diligent as possible in your efforts? It's about awareness and protecting yourself. It's the reality. It is not a scare tactic. Next, one of my personal favorite aspects to consider is marketing. I personally love marketing. It's something that I really love to do with my job. Being a former tattoo artist, I think I have a pretty good eye for design and art. So creating marketing material, staging homes, and doing video tours is a great creative outlet for me. Do you have an artistic eye for design and marketing? You're definitely going to know your house better than an agent, but do you know the best way to market the home? Do you know how to make it look amazing online with photos? A video tour? Do you know where to advertise it? Do you know how to get it in front of as many eyeballs as possible? Do you feel like you have the tools and the know-how to be the best one for the job of marketing and promoting your house? Do you know how to pre-qualify potential buyers, and are you comfortable asking them the necessary questions in order to do so? Let me be really blunt so that you're not surprised if you decide to try the FSBO route. There are a few typical types of buyers who are going to approach for sale by owner properties, and they usually include the following. Investors looking to pay pennies on the dollar because they will buy the house in its as-is condition and pay you some cash very quickly. They use this to try to entice you into a low sale price, but please keep in mind that while cash is nice, because you can often close a bit quicker and sometimes get that appraisal contingency waived on cash deals. At the closing table, it's cash to you whether the buyer gets a mortgage or not. Your typical sale is going to be completed in 30 to 45 days from the contract acceptance to closing day, where you get your money. Ask yourself if closing 14 days faster is worth losing thousands of dollars to you, and it may be. Everyone's needs and wants are different. Personally, I'll wait a few weeks to net more money. Other buyers include those who are not credit worthy and will ask you to do a lease with an option to purchase down the road, or a rent-to-own type of situation. People looking for a deal like that are going straight for you as a for sale by owner. If you need the money from the sale of this house, even if you were willing to, you won't be able to accommodate them. So if you haven't pre-qualified that buyer ahead of time, now you've wasted your time showing them the property. Another category of buyers will write lowball offers because they know you're not paying a real estate agent a commission. Since you're not paying that fee, they feel justified about offering you less. This may surprise you, but many for sale by owner sellers still end up paying a percentage of the home sale price to a real estate agent who brings a buyer. So the next type of buyer to be prepared to negotiate with is the one who comes with a real estate agent. It's not very likely that an agent will see your house and recommend it to a buyer. Most agents don't typically look at off-market properties. However, a buyer may see your house is for sale somewhere and ask their agent to show it to them. That agent will then call you up and ask prior to showing the home if you're willing to cooperate with agents and pay a commission. So in these cases, you're likely going to be negotiating with someone who has training and experience as a skilled negotiator. So my question is, are you a good negotiator? Negotiating is a huge part of the job when you decide to sell on your own. You may have to negotiate multiple times during a sale, not just at the beginning when a sales price is agreed upon. After home inspections are complete, you may end up back in negotiations. And heads up, this is where most deals fall apart. If you and the buyer are negotiating directly without any agent involved, this could be some pretty intense and uncomfortable negotiating. Especially if it's a friend or a relative, you need to remember not to take things personal. A home inspection report can be anywhere from 30 to 100 plus pages, and it can feel pretty brutal. If it's a stranger that you're under contract with, you may just lose a sale if you get defensive or lose your cool when they ask for repairs or a price reduction. But if it's someone that you know, you also risk damaging that relationship. Although you may have lived in the house and considered it a great home for yourself, it's imperative to remember that this is a business transaction and you need to be able to keep your cool. Do you know what to do in case of a low appraisal? Or in the case of an appraisal where the loan type is FHA, VA, or USDA and the appraiser has flagged some items in the home? If either of those occur, you could end up back in negotiations after the appraisal comes in. If it doesn't appraise for at least the agreed upon amount, you will need to renegotiate and determine the best way forward. This is another possible point at which a sale could fall apart. If it appraised for more than the sale price, there is no renegotiating and you just move forward and the buyer will have instant equity. If the appraisal is conditioned on some repairs being made, the buyer will likely be coming to you to renegotiate. This is another point at which a sale could potentially fall apart. I want to emphasize that considering whether to go for sale by owner or with a real estate agent is about getting really honest with yourself and exploring what truly benefits you in the long run. Here's the thing, working with a real estate agent can often lead to a smoother, definitely safer, and ultimately more profitable selling experience where you walk away with more money even after paying a brokerage fee than if you were to sell for sale by owner. While it might seem like by not paying a brokerage fee, you'll put more money in your pocket, research actually shows that in many cases, homes sold with an agent tend to sell for a higher price than a for sale by owner, which means even after paying the brokerage fee, you may end up with more money in your pocket, less stress and headache, and less likelihood of being sued. Consider meeting with a real estate agent before you make a decision of whether you're going to try to sell on your own or sell with an agent, so you can find out how much money they would be able to put in your pocket and answer any other questions that you have. If you're outside of the area that I serve, which is Northwest Louisiana, let me know and I can refer an agent to you. I have a network of agents across the United States. You can go to the Ask Me Anything link in the description below or reach out any other way. My contact information is at the bottom of every description. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and get ready for more useful information on this next video.